After denying a woman's expired coupon, she threw her purse at me and screeched, "I'm basically funding this store. You owe me." When security arrived, she smirked. "Call whoever you want. I know the owner personally." The manager stepped forward, crossed his arms, and said, "That's interesting, because I am the owner. So, I work at a mid-sized grocery store in Charleston, South Carolina. Not a chain, this place is family-owned. Been here since the 1970s. Locals love it because we stock a lot of specialty items, and the service is more personal. It's the kind of store where we know regulars by name. I've been working there for about 5 years, mostly on register. I don't love it, but the hours are decent, and the owner treats us well. On this particular day, it was hot. Sticky heat. That kind of day where everything feels heavier. I had the evening shift, which usually means a slow start that picks up around 5 p.m. when people swing by after work. Around 6:30 p.m., she walks in. She didn't even look at me, just rolled her cart straight to produce like she owned the place. You know the type. Designer bag the size of a toddler, sunglasses indoors, and that overconfident strut like she was being filmed. I didn't recognize her, which was strange, because I usually recognize the difficult ones. About 20 minutes later, she's back at my register with a full cart. Fancy stuff too, imported crackers, French cheese, organic this, artisanal that. No small talk. Just started unloading everything like I wasn't there. I start scanning. After about 30 items, she hands me a thick wad of coupons. I take a quick look and see immediately that a bunch of them are expired. Some expired last year. I politely let her know. "Sorry, ma'am, these are expired. I can't take them." She stops what she's doing and just stares at me. Long enough that I thought maybe she didn't hear me. Then she leans in, lowers her sunglasses a bit, and goes, "Excuse me? What did you say?" I repeat myself. Calm. Even-toned. I've dealt with coupon ladies before. I expected a little huff, maybe some eye-rolling. Instead, she slams both palms on the counter and raises her voice. "I am basically funding this store. You owe me. If you cared about customer service, you'd honor them." I said, "Ma'am, I don't make the policy. I just follow it." Now she's shouting. People in the other aisles are looking over. "You follow bullshit. I should be treated like a VIP in here. You're acting like I'm trying to scam you. Do you even know who I am?" At this point, I'm trying to stay calm, but she's making it impossible. My manager isn't nearby and I can't leave the register. I offer to call a supervisor to help sort it out. That's when she picks up her purse, a big heavy one with metal straps, and throws it at me. She didn't even aim for the counter. She aimed for me. It hit the side of the register and knocked a whole rack of gum and candy flying. One of the packs bounced off my arm. I wasn't hurt, but I was so stunned I didn't move right away. My coworker Jake came running from the next register over. "What the hell just happened?" he said. She starts playing the victim instantly. "He was rude. Rude and dismissive. And now he's making me look crazy." Jake looks at me, looks at the floor, sees the mess, and says nothing. And then she says the line that made my blood boil. "Call whoever you want. I know the owner personally. He'll be very interested to hear how your employee just humiliated me." That was her mic drop moment. She folded her arms like she'd won. But the timing, oh my God, the timing. Because Mr. Benson, the actual owner of the store, had just walked out of his office. His office is behind a glass wall above the produce section. He'd been watching the whole thing from up there. He walks down the short hallway and approaches. Calm. Silent. Arms folded. Doesn't say anything right away. The woman sees him and lights up. "Finally! Someone in charge. This boy here." She points at me. Just disrespected me, refused my coupons, and caused this entire mess. And look at how he's looking at me right now. Rude and hostile. Mr. Benson doesn't blink. Doesn't even look at me yet. Then he says, cool as anything. That's interesting, because I am the owner. She freezes. That smug smile? Gone in half a second. Eyes wide like a deer in headlights. You could feel the shift in the air. Every customer nearby had gone quiet. Someone in the back literally said, "Oh wow." Mr. Benson continues, "And from what I saw, you threw your purse at my cashier. That's assault." She starts backpedaling instantly. It slipped. I was just upset. He was being rude and dismissive. But Benson cuts her off. I watched the whole thing. We also have it on camera. She tries again, this time pretending to be sweet. "Look, I just wanted to use some coupons. I'm here all the time. We don't need to make a big deal out of this." He responds, "You don't shop here regularly." "I know all my regulars. And even if you did, this is unacceptable." She keeps trying to save face, and every time she talks, it gets worse. "You don't understand the kind of money I spend." "My family, no," Benson says. "I understand exactly who you are. And you are not welcome here anymore." She gasps like someone just slapped her. "You're banning me? Over this?" "Yes," he says calmly. "Over this. Leave." She stands there for a few seconds like she's deciding whether to cry, scream, or throw something else. Then she grabs her purse, scoops up her expired coupons from the counter, and storms out, leaving all $300 worth of groceries behind. And then, without looking back, she shouts, "You'll be sorry." Nobody says anything for a full minute after she's gone. Then Benson turns to me and asks, "You okay?" I nod. Still shaking a bit, but yeah. I was okay. He says, "Take 5. I'll handle the rest." I step outside for air. My hands are trembling. Not from fear, just the adrenaline of someone throwing a damn purse at me over expired coupons. And I still had 3 more hours left in my shift. There's more that happened after that, stuff with how Benson handled it long term, and the fallout from the whole thing, but I'll write more later if people are interested. Let me just say, some people have the gall. So yeah, she stormed out yelling, "You'll be sorry." Like she was casting a curse or something. I took my break, sat behind the store where we usually go to cool off, chain-smoked half a cigarette even though I don't really smoke, just needed something to do with my hands. The rest of my shift was quiet. Mr. Benson cleaned up the mess himself. He even told me not to worry about finishing my shift, but I stayed. I felt like if I left, she'd win somehow. The next day, I came in and the store felt off. Like people were whispering more than usual. Jake pulled me aside and said, "Heads up, she came back this morning. With a guy." I stopped stocking shelves. "What do you mean, with a guy?" He nods toward the CCTV monitors. "Big guy. Bald. Looked like a lawyer or maybe just one of those rich jerks with money to burn." They went straight to Benson's office. Didn't even look around. I checked the time stamp on the footage. They were in there for about 10 minutes. Mr. Benson didn't look pleased. Neither did the guy. But when they came out, she looked smug again. Same stupid sunglasses. Same energy like she won something. Jake says she smiled at the cashier on the way out and said, "Justice always wins, sweetheart." That made my stomach drop. Something was up. Later that day, Mr. Benson calls me into his office. The door's already open when I knock. He waves me in, leans back in his chair like he's trying not to look tired. "She filed a complaint," he says. "Said you were aggressive. Said you made her feel unsafe. Said you were rude and wouldn't let her speak." I felt my face go red. "That's all fake. You saw." He holds up his hand. "I know. I watched the footage. She twisted every single part of it. But that guy she brought? He's not a lawyer. He's her brother. And he owns a few strip malls around here. They've got connections. City council types." He sighs. "They're threatening to go public with a story about us discriminating against customers. Said they'll drag our store name through the dirt." I was speechless. It felt like I was being shoved underwater. This wasn't just a tantrum anymore. She was going after me, the store, everything. I ask, "So what happens now?" He leans forward. "Nothing. Yet. I'm not backing down. I told them I stand by you. But I wanted you to know in case things get messy." She's clearly not done. He was right. The next day, someone tagged our store on Facebook with a post that said, "Watch out for how this store treats women." No name, no photo, just vague accusations and hashtags about misogyny and worker power trips. The comments blew up. Half the people defended us, the other half said they weren't surprised. 2 days later, a 1-star Google review pops up. Same tone. Horrible customer service. Employees treat you like criminals. Will never shop here again. Her name wasn't on it, but the language was exactly the same as what she said in the store. I was sure it was her. Then someone started calling the store during off hours and just breathing into the phone. Sometimes they'd whisper, "Tick-tock." It was juvenile, but it was also creepy as hell. Jake thought it was funny at first. I didn't. Then came the real hit. One afternoon, while I was stocking cereal, a city inspector walks in. Badge and clipboard. Says he's there for a random check. Benson's face was like stone. He walked the guy through everything, but when the inspector got to the back storage area, he claimed one of the freezer temps was non-compliant. That was BS. We checked that thing twice a day. But sure enough, the next morning, a fine gets slapped on the store. $500. Benson fought it, but the paperwork said it was reported by an anonymous tip. We both knew who sent it. This woman wasn't just mad. She was going nuclear. Then, because of course, 2 more complaints come in. One says I made a racist comment. Another said I mocked a child with special needs. Both completely fabricated. No witnesses. No evidence. Just accusations. At this point, Benson looks tired every time he sees me. Not mad, just tired. Like the fight's taking something out of him. Then one morning, he pulls me aside again. Says, "We might have to move you to a different location. Temporarily. Just to get the heat off." I say, "You mean hide me?" He doesn't answer. That night, I went home and started digging. I had to know who this woman really was. I started with her first name, got it from the receipt she left behind. Then I remembered she mentioned her brother owned malls. It took a few hours, but I found their family's name connected to some real estate companies. That's when I saw it. 3 years ago, she was involved in another incident at a different store. Upset over a return policy. Threw a hot coffee at a cashier. Press didn't pick it up, but there were Yelp reviews that mentioned it. One review even said, "She threatened to get a cashier fired and said she'd make sure the owner regretted crossing her." That line stuck with me. I kept digging. Found a LinkedIn profile. Found a tweet from an old employee who said this woman had a hobby of breaking people's careers. So yeah, now I knew who I was dealing with. And I wasn't gonna stay quiet. But I had to be smart. No yelling. No Facebook wars. I had to figure out a way to flip the script without losing my job or dragging Benson's store down with me. Because this lady didn't just want coupons accepted. She wanted control. And I wasn't gonna let her win. Not this time. I spent the next few days walking into work with my head on a swivel. I was still behind the register most days, but now I noticed the difference. Customers looked at me differently. Some friendly faces didn't smile anymore. A few avoided my line altogether. One woman even asked Jake if the rude guy was working today before deciding to use self-checkout. Mr. Benson saw it too. He kept saying, "Don't worry, it'll blow over." But we both knew that wasn't how this woman operated. She wasn't interested in letting it go. She wanted a scalp. Then one afternoon, Jake pulls me aside again. Says he overheard something weird. Apparently, a reporter from a local blog had called to ask questions about the store's treatment of customers. Not an official paper, but one of those clickbait lifestyle blogs that survives on outrage and drama. They didn't name me, but they said they were investigating a pattern of complaints at our location. That was new. This woman was now dragging outside parties into it. I tried to focus on work, but one night around 11 p.m., I got a message on Facebook from a girl I hadn't talked to since high school. It just said, "Is this about you?" Someone posted about a cashier getting violent. She sent me a screenshot from a local Facebook group. It was a blurry photo, me behind the register. My head was turned, so you couldn't see my face clearly, but it was definitely me. The caption said, "This employee at our store name screamed at a female shopper, refused to help her, and acted like a thug. Be careful." The comments were full of fire. People demanding names, calling for me to be fired, saying things like, "Why does customer service always attract the worst people?" I didn't even know someone had taken a photo that day. That night I barely slept. Next day I came in dead-eyed and exhausted. Mr. Benson called me into his office again, this time with someone new in the room, his wife, Claudia. She usually handles HR stuff and barely speaks to us beyond hellos. She looked stressed. They sat me down and said, "We believe you. But this has gone further than we expected." I asked if they were firing me. They said no. But then Claudia said something weird. "We think someone inside is feeding her information." I blinked. "You mean someone who works here?" Benson nodded. "Only someone on staff could have leaked the shift schedule to that blogger. And only someone who had access to our storage logs could have known what day the inspector came." That hit hard. The store's staff was small, 10 people tops. We were tight. Shared lunch breaks. Covered shifts for each other. It didn't make sense. Then Claudia showed me the leaked copy of our internal memo that got posted online. It was about adjusting store policy for customer interactions, and it made it look like we were admitting guilt. The real memo was harmless, a reminder not to engage in arguments. But the version online had been doctored. So now, not only was she attacking from the outside, she had someone on the inside. I started thinking about who it could be. Everyone had a reason to hate the job, sure. But to sabotage a coworker? The next week was hell. Every day brought something new. Another fake review. Another angry caller. A weird envelope showed up at the front desk one day with no return address. It was full of crumpled expired coupons and a single printed message. "Still waiting for your apology." Then one day, as I was closing up, I found something stuck under my windshield wiper. A piece of notebook paper with just one line on it. "You should have smiled." That wasn't just passive-aggressive. That was creepy. I brought it inside, showed it to Mr. Benson. He didn't say much. Just told me to take the next 2 days off and that he'd handle it. I didn't argue. I needed the time. While I was off, I started watching. Not the woman. Her trail had gone cold online. But the staff. I made burner accounts, joined the local Facebook group where she was posting, and started cross-referencing comment times with staff clock-in hours. Took me a few nights, but one pattern stood out. One of the part-timers, Caleb. 19. Always on his phone. Laughed a little too hard when people made fun of customers. He'd started a month before everything blew up, said his cousin. Used to work for PR. And that. You can ruin a business with just a few clicks. I couldn't prove anything, but I had a hunch. So I messaged him from one of the burner accounts. Pretended to be another concerned shopper. Said, "Great job leaking the memo. You got them shook. What's next?" He responded in minutes. "Wait till you see what we got planned next week. Guy's gonna melt down." Faced with tears of joy, that was enough for me. I screenshotted everything. Took it to Mr. Benson the next day. He read the messages in silence, nodded, and said, "Thank you." He didn't fire Caleb right away. Played it cool. But a week later, Caleb was gone. No shift. No warning. Just disappeared off the schedule. Claudia said he quit suddenly. But Jake told me later that he heard Benson had called Caleb's bluff. Said something like, "We know everything. We've got the logs. If you say one more word, we press charges for harassment and impersonation." And just like that, the Facebook posts stopped. The phone calls stopped. The fake reviews stopped. It went quiet. But I didn't feel relief. I felt something else. Like the storm wasn't over. Just paused. Because deep down, I knew she wasn't done. People like that don't just move on. They wait. They plan. They strike again. And next time, it wouldn't be about coupons. Things stayed quiet for a couple of weeks. No more posts. No weird calls. No strangers lurking in the parking lot. For a while, I thought maybe it was over. Maybe Caleb had been the real puppet master, and cutting him out killed the whole game. But I was wrong. It started with the mail. A big manila envelope showed up at the store with no return address. Inside was a stack of printed screenshots, my old tweets. Stupid jokes from 10 years ago, when I was in high school. A couple of them were edgy and dumb, things I'd never say now. One of them even had me quoting a movie with a racial slur in it. It wasn't my word, it was the quote, but I knew how bad it looked out of context. At the bottom of the stack, someone had written, "Still think you're the good guy?" I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. I hadn't thought about those posts in years. I forgot they even existed. But there they were, printed out, weaponized. I went to Mr. Benson and showed him. He looked over the papers and then gave me a long, tired stare. "I want to defend you," he said. "But you wrote these. It doesn't matter if you've changed, this is what people see now." I didn't try to argue. I knew he was right. By the end of the week, someone had emailed the screenshots to local news tips. A small blog picked up the story. Headline: Charleston grocery clerk under fire for offensive past tweets. It didn't go viral, but it was enough to scare the store's regulars. A few people called to say they wouldn't be coming back. Until that guy's gone. Benson brought me into the office one last time. I knew what was coming. "I can't protect you anymore," he said. "This isn't about the coupons anymore. It's about the store's name. About trust." I nodded. "I understand." He didn't fire me. I quit. That way it wouldn't go on my record. The next day, I packed up my locker and left out the back. Didn't even say goodbye to Jake. Didn't want to explain it all again. Just walked to my car in silence. But I couldn't let it end like that. I'd made mistakes, sure. I owned that. But she lit the match. She turned a coupon dispute into a campaign to ruin me. And she almost got away with it. Until I made one last move. I remembered something Caleb said in his message. "Wait till you see what we got planned next week." That stuck with me. He wasn't just helping her, they were planning something big. I went back into the burner accounts and searched for every post and comment tied to her. Found an old message thread between her and a local event organizer for a small-town charity board. They'd had a falling out over money. She accused them of mishandling funds. Publicly embarrassed them. That's when I realized she did this all the time. She was a serial accuser. Not for justice. For power. So I started contacting people. Quietly. Anonymously. I reached out to old store employees from that coffee incident, others who'd been targeted by her. I found a former hairdresser who said she was sued for ruining her curls. A landlord who had to evict her after she faked mold damage and refused to pay rent for 4 months. Another cashier who said she lost her job after the woman claimed she broke her bag. I collected statements. Screenshots. Paper trails. Then I sent them, all of them, to a journalist I trusted. A real one. Someone who worked for a local investigative station. I told them the whole story. Laid it out plain and simple. From the coupon to the purse to the harassment. I didn't hold back. I admitted to my old tweets too. I didn't hide from it. It took 3 weeks. Then the story aired. Charleston woman tied to string of false accusations and smear campaigns. They didn't name me directly, but they told enough of the story that people connected the dots. The videos showed clips from the store's security cameras, like her throwing her purse, her yelling at staff, Caleb walking in with her. The best part? Caleb got named. They found more dirt on him too. He'd been paid under the table to stir up drama at other businesses she targeted. The fallout was immediate. The woman's brother? Lost a major lease deal after the press connected his name to her campaigns. Caleb? Fired from his new job within 2 days. And her? She vanished offline. Deleted everything. Her Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, gone. I heard through the grapevine that she left town. Some say she moved to Atlanta. Others say her family cut her off. Benson called me the day after the story aired. First time I heard from him since I left. You did what we couldn't, he said. You exposed her. He offered me my job back. I said no. I didn't want it. Because even though I got justice, something in me had changed. I wasn't proud of everything I'd done. Digging into her life, going full revenge mode, it burned me a little. I'd let my anger run the show. And yeah, I paid a price. I lost my job. My name was dragged through the mud. And all of it started with expired coupons. I guess that's what stuck with me the most. It never really starts with something big. Just one moment. One person who pushes too far. And if you push back, be ready. Because not everyone walks away clean. Even when they win.